They called her the poor housemaid. They threw her scraps like a dog. They worked her until her body screamed for rest. But they never asked her name. They never asked where she came from. They never asked why a girl so educated, so well-spoken, would work for pennies cleaning their floors. My people, before we continue this story, let me say a short prayer. May God protect every child struggling to save their parent. May He expose every wicked person who uses power to destroy the innocent and fight battles we cannot fight ourselves. Amen. Cinderella kept her secrets buried because her mother's life depended on it. Every shilling she earned bought another day, another breath, another chance for her mother to survive the illness that was slowly killing her. She endured the insults. She endured the cruelty. She endured everything until the day Mr. Okonkwo decided he wanted more than just her labor. When she refused him, he told his wife a lie that would destroy Cinderella's entire world. That housemaid tried to seduce me. The wife didn't investigate, didn't question, didn't care about truth. She simply threw Cinderella into the streets like garbage, taking everything: her job, her home, her only source of income. Standing in the rain with nowhere to go and her mother dying 3 villages away, Cinderella made a decision. She would stop hiding. She would stop pretending. She would reveal who she really was. And when the truth came out, the family that destroyed her would learn a lesson they would never forget. Never judge someone by their circumstances. Because the poor housemaid you're oppressing might be the only person standing between you and total destruction. But let me tell you how this began. Let me tell you about the girl they called Cinderella and the secrets she carried in her heart. If this story is touching your heart, please subscribe to African Tales by Favorite. We bring you stories that matter, stories that teach, stories from our own people. Now, let us see what Mr. Okonkwo will do to this poor girl. 6 months before that rainy night, Cinderella arrived at the Okonkwo compound carrying nothing but a small cloth bag and a prayer on her lips. Her real name was Oluchi, God's work, but Mrs. Okonkwo decided it was too fine a name for a housemaid. "We'll call you Cinderella," she said with a laugh that had no warmth, "because you'll be cleaning ashes from our fireplace." Oluchi bowed her head and accepted the name. She accepted everything, because 3 villages away, her mother lay on a mat, coughing blood into white cloth that turned crimson. The medicine cost more than Oluchi could imagine. The doctors said without it, her mother had weeks, maybe days. So Oluchi became Cinderella. She scrubbed floors until her knees bled. She washed clothes until her hands cracked. She cooked, cleaned, and served from before sunrise until long after the family slept. Mrs. Okonkwo paid her almost nothing, barely enough for her mother's medicine, and a handful of garri for herself. "You should be grateful," Mrs. Okonkwo said often. "A girl like you, no family, no prospects. You're lucky we took you in." Oluchi would bow. "Yes, ma, thank you, ma." She never told them about the university degree she'd earned before her father died. Never mentioned the scholarship she'd abandoned when her mother fell ill. Never spoke of the name she'd left behind, a name that carried weight in certain circles, a name connected to land and legacy and power. She kept silent because her mother had begged her to. "Hide yourself," her mother had whispered through cracked lips. "There are people who would harm you if they knew. Stay small, stay safe, until the time is right." So Oluchi stayed small. She became Cinderella, the poor housemaid who scrubbed and bowed and disappeared into the background. But Mr. Okonkwo had been watching her, and what he wanted, he believed he deserved to take. The nightmare was about to begin. Before she became Cinderella, Oluchi's life had been different, beautiful even. She grew up in Umunachi, a village where her family name Okoro meant something. Her father, Chief Okoro, had been a respected elder, a man whose word carried weight in disputes, whose wisdom settled conflicts. Their compound wasn't wealthy like the Okonkwoses, but it was filled with something richer: love, laughter, and respect. Oluchi was their only child, born after years of prayers. Her father called her his miracle. Her mother called her the answer to every petition I whispered to the ancestors. They gave her everything: education at the best secondary school, university in the city, studying literature and business. Dreams of becoming a teacher, maybe opening a school for village girls who had no opportunities. "You'll do great things," her father used to say, his eyes shining with pride. "You lift up others the way we lifted you." But life has a way of shattering beautiful things. 2 years ago, her father died suddenly. A stroke, the doctor said. He went to sleep one evening and never woke up. The funeral filled their compound with mourners, hundreds of people whose lives Chief Okoro had touched. The grief nearly killed Oluchi's mother. She stopped eating, stopped sleeping, stopped living in any real sense, and then her body began to fail. The cough started small, but grew worse. Blood appeared on the white clothes. The doctors in the city diagnosed tuberculosis, complicated by grief and malnutrition. "She needs expensive medicine," they said, "for months, maybe a year, and rest, proper food, care." The inheritance Chief Okoro left wasn't enough. Medical bills devoured it. Oluchi sold everything: furniture, jewelry, even her textbooks. She dropped out of university 3 months before graduation. It still wasn't enough. That's when her mother made her swear an oath. "Listen to me, Oluchi." Her mother gripped her hand with surprising strength. "There are people who want our land, your father's cousins. They've been watching, waiting for us to fall. If they know you're alone, vulnerable, they'll strike. They'll claim your father owed them money. They'll take everything." "Mama, what are you saying?" "You must hide, Noam. Go somewhere they won't think to look. Work quietly. Save money for my medicine. And don't tell anyone who you really are. Not until you are strong enough to fight them." "But Mama..." "Swear it, Oluchi, on your father's grave. Swear you will protect yourself." Through tears, Oluchi swore. 3 days later, she left Umunachi in the early morning darkness. She changed her appearance, cut her long hair short, wore simple clothes, removed the small gold earrings her father had given her. She traveled to a town where no one knew her family name, and she found work with the Okonkwas. Mrs. Okonkwo looked at her with suspicion. "You speak too well for a housemaid." "I attended some school before my family fell on hard times, ma," Oluchi said, making her voice small and humble. "Can you cook, clean, work hard without complaining?" "Yes, ma, I can work very hard." Mrs. Okonkwo named her price, a pittance that barely covered the medicine. Oluchi wanted to negotiate, but desperation has no bargaining power. "I'll take it, ma. Thank you, ma." And so she became Cinderella, scrubbing floors in a stranger's house, hiding the educated woman she'd been, burying the chief's daughter she still was. Every night, she sent money to the neighbor caring for her mother. Every night, she prayed it would be enough. Every night, she told herself, "Just a little longer, just until Mama is well." But time was running out faster than she knew. Mr. Okonkwo believed the world owed him everything he desired. He'd built his wealth through imports, bringing goods from overseas and selling them at prices that made other traders whisper about his methods. Some said he bribed customs officials. Others claimed he had powerful people protecting his business. No one dared investigate too closely. In his compound, his word was law. His wife obeyed him. His children feared him. And the housemates who came and went learned quickly. Do exactly what Mr. Okonkwo wants, or find yourself on the street. He was 52 years old, with a belly that spoke of good living and hands that had never done hard labor. His wife, Ngozi, was a woman who'd married for security and learned to ignore her husband's wandering eyes in exchange for a comfortable life. "What I don't know won't hurt me," she told her friends at the market. "As long as he keeps the roof over our heads and food in our pots." I looked the other way. But she drew the line at disrespect in her own home. Any housemaid who she believed was trying to seduce her husband would be dealt with swiftly and without mercy. Mr. Okonkwo understood his wife's rules, so he was always careful, always patient. He would test the waters first, see which housemaids were desperate enough, vulnerable enough, scared enough to comply. When Oluchi arrived, he noticed her immediately. She was different from the other housemates. Beautiful, yes, but it was more than that. She carried herself with a dignity that intrigued him. Her speech was refined. Her manners too polite for someone claiming to be common. Who is this girl really? He wondered. He watched her, noticed how she never complained, no matter how hard his wife worked her, noticed how she sent most of her salary away to family. He assumed, noticed the sadness in her eyes when she thought no one was looking. Vulnerability, desperation, beauty, intelligence, everything that attracted him. He started small. A compliment here, you're a good worker, Cinderella. A kind word there, my wife is lucky to have someone so capable. Oluchi would bow respectfully. Thank you, sir. Nothing more. A distance frustrated him. Usually by now, a housemaid would warm to his attention, grateful that the master of the house noticed her. He increased his efforts, gifts of extra food, small amounts of money pressed into her hand. For your family. Oluchi accepted these gifts with the same respectful distance. God bless you, sir. Never familiar, never encouraging. It drove him mad. Didn't she understand? He was offering her a chance to improve her situation, a chance to have security, protection, even comfort if she was smart enough to accept his interest. But she remained untouchable, polite, but cold. Mr. Okonkwo's desire turned darker. His ego couldn't accept her refusal because in his mind, she hadn't earned the right to refuse him. She was a housemaid, nothing, no one. She should be grateful for his attention. She thinks she's too good for me, he muttered to himself, watching her hang laundry in the compound. A housemaid with no family, no prospects. She should be begging for my favor. His gifts stopped. His compliments turned to criticism. Cinderella, you're becoming lazy. Work harder. Cinderella, this food is cold. You're useless. His wife noticed his changed mood and assumed the housemaid had done something to displease him. She became harsher too, piling more work on Oluchi, finding fault in everything. Oluchi endured. Her mother's medicine was more important than pride. But Mr. Okonkwo's patience was ending. And when a man like him decides he will have something, he doesn't care who gets hurt in the taking. The trap was being set. It started with touches that lasted too long. Mr. Okonkwo would brush past Oluchi in the narrow kitchen, his hand grazing her waist. Excuse me, he'd say, his breath hot against her neck. She would step aside quickly, keeping her eyes down, her face neutral. When she served him food, his fingers would linger on hers as he took the plate. Thank you, Cinderella. His eyes traveling over her in a way that made her skin crawl. She began serving him differently, setting the plates down quickly and stepping back before he could touch her. He noticed, and it amused him. Why are you always running from me? He asked one afternoon when his wife was at the market. Am I so terrible? No, sir, Oluchi said carefully. I just want to finish my work, sir. Your work. He smiled, but there was no kindness in it. You work so hard, too hard. A young beautiful girl like you should have someone taking care of her. I take care of myself, sir. But what if you didn't have to? He moved closer. What if you had someone who could make your life easier? Someone who could help with your mother's medicine? Oluchi's blood went cold. How did he know about her mother? I pay attention, Cinderella, he said, reading her face. I know you send all your money away. I know you're desperate. I could help you. All you have to do is be friendlier. The word hung in the air like poison. Sir, I appreciate my job here, Oluchi said, choosing her words carefully. I don't want to lose it by being inappropriate. Inappropriate? He laughed. I'm offering to help you, and you call it inappropriate? Sir, your wife. My wife doesn't need to know everything, he said, his voice dropping lower. What happens between us could stay between us. Think about your mother, Cinderella. Think about how much easier life could be. Oluchi felt trapped. If she refused too strongly, he might fire her out of spite. If she agreed, she would lose the only thing she had left, her dignity. Sir, please, I just want to work. His face darkened. You think you're too good for me? No, sir, You're nothing. His voice rose sharply. A housemaid. You should be grateful. I'm even looking at you. Footsteps approached. Mrs. Okonkwo returning from the market. Mr. Okonkwo's expression changed instantly. By the time his wife entered, he was sitting calmly, reading his newspaper as if nothing had happened. But Oluchi saw the promise in his eyes. This isn't over. The next days were torture. Mr. Okonkwo found excuses to corner her. When his wife left for church meetings, He would appear wherever Oluchi was working. Still being stubborn, he'd say, standing too close. Oluchi tried to never be alone. She walked faster, moved constantly, stayed in sight of others when possible. But the compound was large, and Mrs. Okonkwo often sent her to clean the rooms upstairs where no one else went during the day. One afternoon, as Oluchi cleaned the master bedroom, Mr. Okonkwo appeared in the doorway. "My wife is visiting her sister," he said, closing the door behind him. "She won't be back for hours." Oluchi's heart hammered. "Sir, I need to finish cleaning. I think we need to talk about your future here, Cinderella." He moved toward her. "I've been very patient, but my patience is ending. Sir, please." "One chance," he said, reaching for her. "Be smart. Say yes." Oluchi grabbed the bucket of dirty water and held it between them. "Sir, I can't. Please don't make me lose this job. I need this job." "Then you know what you have to do." "No, sir. Not that. Anything but that." His face twisted with rage and wounded pride. For a moment, she thought he might force himself on her. But he stepped back. "You'll regret this," he said quietly. "You'll regret refusing me." And he left. 3 days later, Mrs. Okonkwo returned from the market earlier than expected. She found her husband in his study, sitting with his head in his hands, looking troubled. "Nani, what's wrong?" He looked up at her, his face a perfect mask of distress. "Ngozi, we need to talk about the housemaid." "Cinderella, what about her?" He hesitated, as if the words pained him. "I didn't want to tell you. I thought I could handle it myself, but it's gotten worse." "What has gotten worse?" "She's been making advances toward me." The room went silent. "What did you say?" "The housemaid," he repeated, his voice full of false shame. "She's been trying to seduce me. At first, I thought I was imagining it. The way she looks at me, the way she finds excuses to be near me when you're not home. But today..." "Today what?" "Today, she came to my study and she touched me inappropriately. She said she knew I wanted her, that we could have an arrangement." Mrs. Okonkwo's face transformed. Shock became fury in seconds. "That witch, that shameless girl. I told her to stop," Mr. Okonkwo continued, his performance perfect. "I told her I was a married man, that what she was doing was wrong. But she laughed at me. She said I'd been sending her signals, giving her gifts." "What gifts?" "The extra food I gave her because I felt sorry for her situation. The small money I gave her because you said her mother was ill." She twisted everything into something dirty. Mrs. Okonkwo trembled with rage. "Where is she?" "Upstairs, cleaning." "Ngozi, please be calm." But calm was impossible. Mrs. Okonkwo stormed upstairs like a hurricane. She found Oluchi folding laundry in one of the bedrooms. "You prostitute!" Mrs. Okonkwo screamed. Oluchi jumped, dropping the clothes. "Ma? Don't ma me. You think you can seduce my husband in my own house?" "What, no ma? I would never." "Liar! My husband told me everything. How you've been throwing yourself at him. How you touched him today." Horror flooded Oluchi's face. "Ma, that's not true. I swear on my mother's life." "Your mother?" Mrs. Okonkwo laughed bitterly. "You probably don't even have a mother. All those stories, all that money you claim to send home, probably lies. You came here to trap a wealthy man." "No, ma, please listen." "I'm done listening. Pack your things. You're leaving my house right now." "Ma, please." Oluchi fell to her knees. "I need this job. My mother is sick. She needs medicine." "Should have thought about that before trying to steal someone's husband. Get out." "Ma, I swear on everything holy, I never touched your husband. He's lying. He's been the one." The slap came so fast, Oluchi didn't see it. Her cheek exploded in pain. "How dare you call my husband a liar? He's a respected man, and you're nothing. A housemaid with no family, no name, no character." Mr. Okonkwo appeared in the doorway, his face arranged in perfect sadness. "Ngozi, don't hit her. Just make her leave." "Get out of my sight," Mrs. Okonkwo hissed at Oluchi. "You have 10 minutes to take your things and go. If you're still here after that, I'll call the police and tell them you're a thief." "Ma, please, my salary." "Salary? You think you deserve payment after what you've done. You should be grateful. I'm not having you beaten. Oluchi stumbled to the small room where she slept. Her hands shook as she gathered her few possessions, 2 dresses, a worn wrapper, her mother's photograph. No money, no food, no reference, no hope. As she walked through the compound gate into the evening, she heard Mrs. Okonkwo telling the gateman, "If that girl comes back, don't let her in. She's a bad woman." The rains began to fall, and so Oluchi walked into the rain with nothing. No job, no money, no hope. But my people, do you remember what we told you at the beginning? The poor housemaid they threw away like garbage is not who they think she is. What will Oluchi do now? Who is she really? And how will the Okonkwo family pay for what they have done? This story is just beginning. If you want to see what happens next, type in part 2 in the comments right now. Let me see how many of you are ready for the revenge that is coming. And if you haven't subscribed to African Tales by Favorite, what are you waiting for? Subscribe now, turn on notifications, because part 2 will shock you. Comment part 2, part 2, part 2. I am waiting to see your comments. Don't just watch and go. Let me know you are ready for this story to continue.